So let's just be honest for a second. There are approximately 487 bazillion ways that you can market your business. And I want to talk today about why trying to do it all is a mistake. We're going to dig into the 80-20 rule in marketing. Welcome to the Shoestring CMO. I am marketing mentor Wendy Lawson, and I help micro business owners quintuple. That's 5 times their marketing impact on 5 hours a week or less while operating on a shoestring budget. And today, I want to talk about the 80-20 rule, in particular, how it applies to marketing. Now, if you're not familiar with the 80-20 rule, it's okay. What we're really talking about here is the Pareto Principle. So way back in 1896, Vilfredo Pareto, who was an economist, maybe, he discovered in Italy that 80% of the land was owned by 20% of the population. Now, he was a scientist and he was like, well, that's interesting. He didn't want to just stop there, though. So he expanded his study and discovered that 80-20 rule was applicable to land ownership sort of in other places. It wasn't just an Italian thing. And then in the 1950s, the Pareto Principle became an official principle, became something that was looked at as they were looking at specifically manufacturing. And so when we think about what the Pareto Principle means, and it doesn't just apply to economics or land ownership. When we look at sports, roughly 20% of athletes win 80% of the time. That's a lot. In healthcare, 20% of the patients use 80% of the resources. In computing, 20% of the code is where 80% of all the errors come from. So 20% of the code is where 80% of the errors come from. That's a lot. And then in occupational safety, right, when we look at manufacturing and we look at workplace safety, 20% of the hazards account for 80% of the injuries. So the 80-20 rule states that 80% of the consequences come from 20% of the causes. So 20% of something gets you 80% of the results. So we want to talk about how this plays out in business and then look specifically at how you can use this to your advantage in your marketing. So you may have heard this before, but 20% of salespeople are responsible for 80% of the sales. 20% of your customers are completing 80% of all of your sales. 20% of your time is producing 80% of your results, and that's a big one. And the big one, 20% of your audience is responsible for 80% of your engagement online. So that's all fine and good, but what do I do with this information? Great question. Want to look at how we can leverage the 80-20 rule in marketing for your micro business. So if you know that 80% of your profits are coming from 20% of your customers, you want to embrace those customers. Look, you're not your grandma. You aren't not playing favorites. It's okay to have favorites. You want to reward those customers who are loyal to you and who are accounting for the lion's share of your profits. These are the people that you want to share exclusive offers with or have a loyalty program with. And most importantly, though, is don't forget to automate some sort of follow-up strategy so you're communicating with the people once they've made a purchase. The sale is not the end of the relationship. It's the beginning of the relationship. If someone makes one purchase, they may or may not make a second purchase if you don't ask them, if you don't tell them the other products that you have. So you want to make sure that you're following up with them and getting them into your sales funnel and communicating with them regularly. Now, this one's a hard one. 80% of your sales are coming from 20% of your products. So conventional wisdom would say, okay, if I have 5 products and one of them is responsible for 80% of my sales, then I need to focus on marketing the other products so that they can catch up. But that's actually kind of the opposite of what you want to do. If you know that one product is going to be responsible for 80% of your sales, you really want to focus on growing that product, growing the audience for that product. So instead of trying to put your energies and your budget and your time on creating more marketing for the products that aren't at 80%. You want to really lean into that one product that's doing so well and get new audience for it, get new people to become aware that it exists. It's another tough one. You're not going to like it, but I'm going to say it anyway. 80% of your leads are coming from 20% of your channels. So what that means is if you have a presence on 5 different social networks, let's say you're on Facebook and Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, and Clubhouse, one channel is bringing the vast majority of your traffic to you, the leads to you. And it's probably the one that you're the most active on. So you don't need to be in all the places, but you want to make sure that the one place where traffic's coming from, you're very present there and that you're very active there. And finally, let's talk about the 80-20 rule on social media. This one's painful. It hurts because you're doing all this work and you're growing your presence and you have these followers and people that like your channel and all the things. But the truth is, 80% of your engagement is going to come from 20% or less of your audience. So what that means is if you have 100 people who follow you, just using simple numbers so I can do math in my head, then 80% of the engagement that you get will come from the same 20 people over and over and over again. But don't worry about the 80% that aren't engaging. Focus on connecting with the 20% who are, because those are the people that are going to engage 80% of the time. That 20% those are your people. Those are the people you want to focus on, not the 80% that aren't interested. I know it's a kick in the pants to hear this and to understand this, but you have to remember that 80% of your marketing results are coming from about 20% of your activity. So you want to make sure that you're focusing your activity on the places that are going to get you the best return on investment. And when I mean investment, I'm talking about your time. So use these tips to leverage the 80-20 rule to your benefit in your marketing. Hey, if you're not subscribing, I would love for you to. Just go ahead and click subscribe now, and I'll see you next time. And then in the 1950s, 80% of the consequences are caused by 20% of the causes. Let's say that again.